Now recording, so we're live.
Wow, good morning, swappers and future swappers. How are we this morning?
Very good, Dr. Tucker.
Feeling grateful.
Excellent. Unfortunately, our president, Greg, who normally runs the meeting, has IT issues this morning. So at the last minute, he's asked me to stand in. So I'm going to have to do it from memory because I haven't got an agenda in front of me. But I've welcomed you, and I do remember that was the first thing on the agenda. All right. So good morning, everybody, and also good morning to our speaker, Dr. Irena. Are you there, Dr. Irena?
I certainly am. Thank you.
Good morning. Welcome here this morning, and we'll hear a lot more from you later on. Now, the agenda basically is that we've now started the meeting, and we have what's called Thoughts of the Day. Thoughts of the Day, where you get an opportunity to introduce yourself, your company, or your passion, and give a positive thought of the day. And we also have a thoughts judge who nobody's nominated at the moment. Paddy, are you there? I think I saw him on. Paddy, are you there?
Paddy's there. Paddy's there. He's just muted.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Right, you're the thoughts judge this morning, mate.
Holy moly. Okay.
You better get a pen ready, and we'll do it in order as I've got it in the participants, and I happen to be on number one, so I'll start with me. Good morning, swappers and future swappers. My name is Charlie Nicholls, and would you believe I'm in the process? I'm nearly 75, and in the process of starting an online store selling T-shirts. As a lot of you know, T-shirts are my passion, and I'm going to have the brand name #T-shirt philosophy. All right, and the first T-shirt that I'm producing, and it's going to be up and running by the 16th of this month. And the first T-shirt I'm producing is in honour of a past boss. At the age of 15, I worked for the Victorian Railways in Spencer Street. And my boss was very, very sick. He was dying, and he ended up dying. And he took me aside one day, and he said, "I'm going to give you a piece of advice, mate, so that you never end up like me." And I said, "What's that advice?" And I'm putting it on a T-shirt. Wherever you may be, let your wind go free.
Oh, cool.
So that's my thought of the day. Wherever you may be, let your wind go free. Who's next? Rhonda.
I am Rhonda Buttery, and I have two areas of business. One of them is that I provide the best nutritional supplements on the planet that are made from food rather than from petrochemicals, as are 96% of the supplements that you get. My other area of business is selling and teaching people how to use astrology software. And I love them both, and they both help people with what they're doing. And my thought of the day is one that is a very favourite of mine from Terry Califf from Swap many years ago, one similar Christmas time. And that is, if you don't have love in your heart, you won't find it under the Christmas tree.
Very good. Thank you. Next one, our third one, in actual fact, is our co-host and keynote speaker, Irena Yashin-Shaw. Have you got a nice thought of the day for us?
You've caught me off guard, Charlie. So I didn't actually come prepared with anything. So I thought I was listening to all of you. Sorry.
No worries. We'll move on to Anne.
Okay, I'm Ann Carlson. I'm in Denver, Colorado, and looking out on some snow, missing the warm beach holiday time in Australia and Christmas on the beach. The thought that I had, and I may have written this down from a swapper, I don't know. We're all living our lives, but are we leading our lives?
I like that one. All the way from his mobile, Greg.
Thank you, Uncle Charlie. Greg Eldridge from Executive Solutions down here in Melbourne. a nice, bright, sunny day heading for summer. My thought for the day: success usually comes to those who are too busy to be looking for it.
Deep.
Very good. Thank you. Harry.
No applause.
Good morning, all. My name is Harry. I am lucky enough to be living in the wonderful Gympie region of Queensland, and I work with a business where we sell property. We list, sell, and help people buy property in Queensland. And my thought of the day is from the wonderful Zig Ziglar, and he says, what you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become by achieving your goals.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Very good. Very good.
And Merry Christmas.
Jay Bro. Yes, thank you. Jay Bro, where are you?
G'day everyone, my name's Jay. I'm from Sunshine Coast, Queensland. I own a small concrete business here on the coast. I'm also a trader and soon to be stepping into a sales position with Boston Trading.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Would you have a thought of the day for us, or do you want to move on?
Yeah, there's a quote I do like. It's if not us, who, and if not now, when.
Yes, excellent. Thank you. Jeremy.
Good morning. Welcome, everybody. And for our first timers, good to see you again, Irena. It's been many years. I'm Jeremy Britton from Boston Trading Co. I've got my little Christmas Boston shirt on, and I've got my Christmas hat, which says Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. It's much funnier if you've seen Home Alone about 27 times, like some of us have. And our business is making crypto investing simple and safe for everybody. So anybody can do it, just like a mutual fund. My thought for the day is actually one I thought of this morning when I put my hat on to go down to the park. And I think last year there was this war on Christmas. You can't say Merry Christmas anymore, and people are saying Happy Holidays, and it's woke. And I thought, you know what, it's not. It's just a little bit racist or insensitive to say Merry Christmas to everyone because they might be Jewish, they might be Chinese, they might worship some other religion. So Happy Holidays kind of embraces Hanukkah and embraces Kwanzaa and embraces the Chinese. We've got the Year of the Wood Dragon coming up. So I'm going to say Happy Holidays or Merry Christmas, you filthy animal, depending on who I'm talking to, because I can't assume their religion. So there you go. That's my little thought.
Excellent. Thank you, Jeremy. Paddy, would you like to give your thought?
Yeah, look, Paddy Sweeney. I'm here on the Gold Coast. I'm fortunate that I've got a business, a franchise business that operates throughout Australia and New Zealand, and 95% of the time looks after itself. We clean carpets, lounge suites, tile and grout, and pest control and floods and odor removal and all those sorts of things. We've been going 33 years.
Wow.
And we enjoy life quite considerably. And my thought for the day goes back to, I think it was about 1978 when I went to a club conference on the Gold Coast at the Chevron Hotel. And the thought of the day that won the breakfast there one morning was, I think it came from Zig Ziglar, I'm not sure. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Very, very good, Paddy. I'm sorry I made you thoughts judge, because I would have thought that would have been the winner. But anyway, not to worry.
Well, who said it's not, Charlie?
What about Pat from Melbourne? Where's Pat now? Pat's in Brisbane, isn't she?
Yeah, thank you. Pat Armitstead. The last 20 years been bringing joy into the business community. More recently, I'm writing my third book and preparing very excitedly for my first Australian solo art exhibition. Wow. So I have a message today from a mouse. If you can dream it, you can do it. Never forget this whole thing was started by a mouse. Walt Disney.
Very good. Who's next? Let's have a look at. Oh, Susan. Susan, where are you?
Yes, hello there, everybody. I'm Susan. I live in Phoenix, Arizona, and we're just coming into our winter now. This is a place where all the snowbirds from the eastern states come over to our wonderful winter in Arizona. I work for local government public health, and I'm an administrator with that position, and I love it. My quote for the day is one of those real simple ones that I heard at the very beginning of SWAP. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. It's that simple.
Yes, thank you. What about V? Where's V?
Aloha. I'm in Hawaii, having kind of the similar weather that you guys are down in Australia. A nice warm Christmas. I'm sure glad that I'm not the judge of this quote. They're all so great. And I felt so connected with especially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 5 of them. Jay's, if not now, when? I mean, doesn't that make sense to all of us? And Charlie about being free, and Jeremy, all inclusivity, and Patty, caring before selling. I mean, that's huge. And then, you know, dream it, be it. And if you think you can, you can. And for my, what I do is I help people struggling with any limiting beliefs to realize that they have the ability, the innate ability to create whatever they want to experience. And my quote of the day is from Eckhart Tolle, the power, you know, the power of now. And when doing becomes infused with the timeless quality of being, that is success.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah.
Now we move on to Yvonne.
Good morning, everybody. So Yvonne Collier, Madison Training, helping people get along with each other better. In Sydney, but actually at the moment we're in lovely Port Macquarie on holiday, which is so nice. And the best thing to hold on to in life, what do you think it might be? I would suggest it's each other. I like
that. Excellent. What about Brian?
Yeah, good morning all. Brian here. And talking about Bitcoin, it cracked the $40,000 mark this morning. I listened to a Kansas City radio through a smart speaker. And where was I going? All would have been on earlier, except my computer gave me the cold shoulder. It wasn't speaking to me, which isn't a good thing when you're blind. Yeah. So I work with Spick and Span. I do the marketing, and we are a commercial cleaning company. So if you're not happy with your current cleaners, please let me know. My quote for the morning before the garbo gets here: luck did not get me to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro. It all came down to my action.
Oh, nice one.
Excellent. Thank you. Who's next? Oh, I think the last one. Julie.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Julie Wyatt. I'm from Perth in Western Australia, and we are a female-run renovation company. So we help homeowners with life challenges sell their homes in under 120 days with no money down. And we've been doing that for a little while now. But my quote for the day: act as if what you do makes a difference. It really does, by William James. And I believe that's really important every day.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Now, it's
have
that
we
time
had
of morning
everybody?
where we're not. Yes, I think we have. I haven't missed anybody, have I? No. It's this time of morning where we normally stop for a 2-minute break. So we have a cup of coffee while our thoughts judge deliberates. Then we come back and have the thoughts deliberated. Then we have our 5-minute speaker, which happens to be me this morning. And then we go straight into our keynote speaker. So let's have a 2-minute break. get your coffee, go to the loo, do what you need to do, and then we'll be back.
Beautiful.
We're allowed to talk to each other in the meantime.
Are we?
Are you still
Is the
there,
recording
Brian?
off right now?
No, it's on. The recording's on.
I think
so. I'm going to ask. I was Harry. Am I not speaking today?
No.
Okay, thank you. I was misinformed.
Oh,
I was told by Jeremy that it would be in January, but you invited me today, so I was like a little bit.
No, sorry, wrong message. Sorry. But hey, it's up to Jeremy. He's in charge. I mean, he might let you speak today.
There's no meeting in January, so.
Jeremy,
but you can speak.
Don't listen to Harry.
No, don't.
Or me, actually. You know, don't listen to anyone.
Okay, well, who's leading me then? I need to know who my leader is.
We need a 5-minute speaker for February.
Oh. Okay, February. Great. That works out perfect.
if you want 5 minutes, if you want 30 minutes, you're going to have to wait until May or June.
May.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. I'm relieved and grateful at the same time. I was ready though. Just just so you know. I was okay. I'm ready.
Good to see you again. Hey man, we always need backups because sometimes you get to a meeting and the main speaker is ill or whatever.
Correct. So. We do. It happens, and sometimes the computer doesn't work as it does.
I travelled an hour and a half to go to a Terry Cooper thing to see Eric Bailey, and Eric Bailey had food poisoning.
Oh wow,
man! So
and that was your opportunity.
That was my opportunity. Oh no! Terry Cooper took over because that's Terry Cooper.
That's what Terry Cooper does. That's right.
Yeah.
Very cool. Oh well, there you go. You just got in for February. 5 minutes is 5 minutes.
Sounds like a plan. I'm excited to be a part. Merry Christmas. I forgot to say that earlier.
Yeah.
Very cool.
My dog has got matching Christmas sweaters.
Oh my God, look at that.
Love it.
Oh, how cute. Oh, that is so cute.
I never thought I'd
Jeremy.
up a dog.
Yeah.
Jeremy, I'm writing it down. So I put it in my calendar. February 5th, 5 minutes?
Yes.
All right. February 5th, 5 minutes. I will be prepared and I will trim that 30 minutes down to 5.
All right. And I've sent you the calendar invite. That'll add to your calendar.
I appreciate that.
All right, folks, are we ready?
Let's do it.
We're missing Greg and we're missing Brian, but that's all right.
They'll catch up.
They'll catch up.
Yes.
I hope Brian's gone to put a shirt on.
Let's hope so.
He was distracting. There's Brian. Just distracting the females in the group, Brian, because you might not be able to see us, but we can see your big rippling muscles with your no shirt on.
I missed out.
Not only does he climb Kilimanjaro, but he's also a black belt in something.
So I do apologise. I thought my video was off.
No, we've
all I see is heads. All I see is heads on my little phone.
Brian, it's actually better than your non-video shot.
There's 5 women drooling.
It's all right. You can watch the video.
I'm not bad at 57.
Shower.
Hey, Brian, you don't know me, but I also climbed Kilimanjaro. It was quite an adventure. Yeah,
and so did I.
It's a bloody long walk. Yeah, lovely.
That's
cool.
What year did you guys climb Kilimanjaro?
I did it in March of 2009.
Okay. I did it in February of 12.
Yeah, and the only thing I could see was the moon.
Oh, wow.
And it was a full moon that night too. And
mine was a full moon too.
That's the last memory of my sight.
Yeah, so was mine.
Gorgeous. That's beautiful. You'd have seen all the stars. Beautiful.
Mine was August of 2007, I believe, but dates kind of elude me. But I also saw that full moon, so whatever that was about.
Beautiful. That's lovely. Congratulations.
Majestic, magical, and I couldn't breathe very well. It was my first mountain I ever climbed.
Same here. My first time out of Australia. Yeah, good.
Patty, are you ready with the thoughts, Judge, please?
I'm ready.
Go, man, go.
Okay, well, look, there wasn't a dud thought in there, Charlie. There was some incredibly great thoughts, but I picked out one that really reached out to me for a simple reason, that the person, not the person who did the thought, but the person who was behind the thought, is someone that I've followed forever. I think I was about 12 when I first came across a thing called the Mouseketeers, and with Tommy, someone, and
Ed Cucciello.
And yeah, that's her. Yeah, and they were just fantastic. And then back then there was Davy Crockett and Daniel Boone and all sorts of people. So the thought for the day goes to Pat. With a thought from Walt Disney when he said, "If you can dream it, you can do it." Yeah. Remember that this all started with a mouse.
Yes. Yeah, excellent. Thank you, Patty. Yes. All right. So we now move into the 5-minute, 6-minute speaker, which happens to be me. So I'll start off again, and then we'll move. Have you got someone to introduce our keynote speaker, Jeremy, or are you doing it?
That would be Julie introducing Dr. Irena.
As soon as I finish, Julie can move straight into introducing Irena. So once again, good morning, swappers and future swappers. As you know, my name is Charlie Nicholls, and I'm happy to be your little 5-minute speaker this morning. And it's not a serious subject, but it is a bit of a serious subject. A lot of people know here that just on 12 months ago, next week, as a matter of fact, I had a massive stroke in Laos, and they stuck me in an ambulance and took me over the Mekong into Thailand to see if they could save me. And that's how I felt. I wondered whether I was going to get saved or not. I didn't know whether I was going to survive the trip or what was going to happen. The whole left side had gone, collapsed, and I'm lying in the ambulance. And I've got two thoughts running through my head, and that's what I wanted to share with you this morning. What I believe saved me. And the major thought that was going through my head was, I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel great. I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel great. I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel great. Yes, 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 I'm special. I don't know how many times over the years that swap mantra I've actually sung. As a matter of fact, in when was it? Around about the 1995 era, living in Brisbane, I used to answer the phone. And I don't know if anyone remembers, we used to have a phone in the house, the home phone, and nobody would ring, and I'd pick it up and I'd say, I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel great. And you'd hear a big clunk as I hung up on me. And then a couple of minutes later, they'd ring back again. And you could tell there was 2 or 3 people in the background listening to what I was saying as I said, I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel great. And I reckon I've said it that many times as an affirmation that has kept me alive. I honestly believe that. And that's why I never want us to get rid of that affirmation, I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel great. Because we have no idea how many lives we're saving or prolonging over the years. Yes. But it's the next thought that really kept me going. Obviously, I was thinking of my kids. And the last time I spoke as a 5-minute speaker, I spoke about my mum, that my mum used to wake me up every morning and saying, wakey, wakey, for goodness sakey, it's time to get up. You're a very lucky boy because you live in a lucky country. And I reckon that also inputted with me with some positiveness. And so I started to do the same thing with my kids, including the twins, the youngest twins. And as you can appreciate, every morning I'd say, wakey, wakey, for goodness sake, it's going to be a great day because you're going to make it a great day. And I gave them so much positivity. As you can appreciate, they bounded out of bed every morning saying, let's go to school, let's go. No, forget that. They pulled the covers over their head. They go away, Dad, go away, Dad. We don't want to go to school. We don't want to go to school. Matter of fact, it reminded me of a story I heard a long, long time ago about a mum, and she had the same problem with her son, Johnny. Every morning she'd try and wake him up and he'd say, I don't want to go to school. I don't want to go to school. Every morning it's the same thing over and over again. I don't want to go to school. I don't want to go to school. And one morning he got so frustrated, he said, Mum, give me one reason why I should go to school. Because you're the principal, Johnny. You're the principal. And I'm kind of wondering how many of us out there are exactly the same in the morning when it's time to get up and go to work or go to school or whatever. But anyway, every morning I wake them up the same way and I get the same result. Oh, leave us alone, leave us alone. Except one morning, and I'll never, ever forget this, one morning about 3 o'clock in the morning, the twins come racing into my bedroom, jumped on the bed, jumping up and down, up and down, up and down. Come on, Daddy, wake up. Come on, Daddy, wake up. Come on, wake up, Daddy, wake up, Daddy. And I'm coming out of a fog, and I said, what's going on? Come on, time to get up. Time to get up. And I said, I don't understand it. You know, every other morning, I can't get you out of bed. Matter of fact, I can still remember the date. It was December the 25th. And I said, I don't understand. How come you want to get up so early this morning? What's so different about this morning? And in unison, they both said to me, you don't understand, Dad. Today we expect excitement. Today we expect excitement. Ever since that day, every morning when I wake up, I say to myself, Merry Christmas, Charlie, because I'm going to expect excitement today. I believe if you expect excitement, it's very hard to be depressed. Matter of fact, every time, if you get to know me, I never say goodbye. I always say Merry Christmas. I say Merry Christmas as many times as I can during the day, because I reckon every day should be Christmas Day. So that's my little 5-minute thing this morning. So thank you for listening. Any questions?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas,
Merry
Charlie.
Christmas. So, who's taken over this morning?
Charlie, I've got a question. How many kids do you have, and how old are they?
I got 10 kids, which includes 2 sets of twins. I've got 24 grandchildren and 8 great-grandchildren. I got twins in the grandchildren and twins in the great-grandchildren. And they range from little to 50-odd, 55, I think my oldest boy is now. All right, can we have introduce, please?
Yep. Dr. Irena Yashin-Shaw is a master educator, author, speaker, and entrepreneur. Her mission is to empower people to use creativity and innovation to solve problems which create value in their organizations and beyond. She is the founder and CEO of the Global Entrepreneurs Institute, an organization dedicated to liberating underutilized talent within workplaces through learning and development. The intention is to harness the vast reservoir of untapped potential to unleash the next wave of productivity and prosperity within business. Her other roles include executive in residence at Franklin University, USA, visiting global professor at Ohio University, adjunct fellow at Griffith University, and advisory board member of Griffith Business School. Welcome, Irena.
Excellent.
Thank you so much, Anne.
Just one moment, please, Irena. I'm just going to mute everybody.
Okay.
And my screen's gone crazy, so I'll come out of there. Okay, and if you don't mute yourself, please, we'll be away. Are you still there, Irena? We need to.
Okay. Yep, that's
Beautiful.
fine.
Thank you.
All good. I just want to double check that you can see my screen okay?
Perfect.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. And in case you missed the very beginning when I first joined, we were talking about the fact that it's been 20 years since I first started speaking for SWAP, and I think I have done a few over the years, but 20 years is a long time. So it's lovely to see some very familiar faces from my past. So thank you very much for having me here again today. And I also just want to say greetings from the ancient land of the Yagara and Turrbal peoples here in Brisbane, where I am, which is otherwise known as Upper Mount Gravatt. And I've been here for 20 years as well. So what I thought we'd do this morning is we would be just exploring this topic around intrapreneurialism, because that's really my passion now. I've gone through several incarnations in terms of the focus of my business, but it's always been about liberating potential. And so what we can do is keep this fairly informal, and I might talk a bit and then we'll have a chat and I can come back and answer questions along the way. In the meantime, I'm not actually seeing the chat box. Yes, I am now. So if you've got questions, just pop them in there and we can address them along the way. Okay? All right. So this interesting notion about intrapreneurialism really speaks to the fact that people inside organizations have a much more powerful effect on innovation than they are often given credit for. So a little known fact is that over 70% of the world's most transformative innovations are actually from intrapreneurs, yet we often tend to give the credit to entrepreneurs. And there has been an absolute explosion of interest in entrepreneurialism. And only now is intrapreneurialism starting to really catch up. And I'm helping to drive that. So the icons that you see on the screen are all services and products that we take for granted that actually came from intrapreneurs and not entrepreneurs. Now, because this term intrapreneur is still, I would say, not mainstream, I will start off with some definitions, and then we'll look at why now. Why is this an interesting topic for us to give some attention to in this interesting world in which we live? And then I want to just take a deep dive into a particular aspect of successful entrepreneurialism, which is that entrepreneurs are really good at finding opportunities and how they do that, and some great examples. There are a few resources that I'm happy to share with you, and then we'll kind of have a general discussion if you want. Okay, so just as a matter of interest, who has come across the term intrapreneur before actually maybe seeing the topic that I was going to be speaking about today? I can see you all, so if you just put your hands up and give me a wave, I'll see you. Oh, and Yvonne's saying she's actually heard it, but it was actually from me ages ago. Thanks, Yvonne. There's another familiar face I haven't seen for a very long time. So just to clarify what it means, the prefix intra means inside of, and so the term intrapreneur is someone who is an employee who thinks and acts like an entrepreneur while still working inside an organization. So what they do is they use their entrepreneurial mindset, their entrepreneurial spirit, to find opportunities to create value that will benefit the organization that they're working within, and by extension, its entire ecosystem. So that might be customers, it might actually be clients or students or citizens or patients, whatever context they're in, but the key is that they strengthen the organization and its fortunes in some way. So intrapreneurs, I often like to refer to them as being the human face of innovation. And they are often also referred to for that reason as the dreamers who do, because they take action to translate their creative ideas into innovative outcomes. And the interesting thing about entrepreneurs is, even though they often act like leaders, they are found at all levels of an organization. So not necessarily in official leadership roles. The key consideration is that they enhance the organization's prospect and future in some way. Now, just if you don't mind me just exploring that definition a little bit further, I thought just for the people who like this sort of thing, there are a few academic definitions. You know, the one that I just gave was kind of like the broadest application of the term, but here are a few from some academic journals. So they're referred to as employees who expand and rejuvenate the organization to help them to adequately adapt to internal and external developments, and what a time we're living in at the moment. They're also characterized as individuals who renew and innovate from the bottom up. And more recently, from an article that I co-wrote with my colleague from OSU last year, these are the employees who possess a suite of skills that make them ideally suited for helping their organization address existential challenges, and they're therefore key players in leading the organization into the future. So it's interesting to note that organizations that have this critical mass of entrepreneurs are just better off. You know, they tend to be more innovative, more adaptable, more change agile. These organizations with entrepreneurs have a more engaged workforce. And there's some really good research that's just starting to come out at the moment from Canada, specifically from Quebec, to show that there's also less employee burnout in organizations that encourage entrepreneurialism. And that's a really important factor given, you know, the emphasis at the moment within workplaces on employee well-being. So that's just a little bit about the definition of what an entrepreneur is. And I'd like to just then move on to talking about why now. And what I might do is I'll talk about why now, and then we can just have a quick conversation from your end about any questions that you might have. So why does this particular topic kind of land right now? You know, why is there this explosion of interest in entrepreneurialism? And even though I've been beating the drum about this for years and years, it is a topic that's starting to become much more mainstream, although it's been quite fringe up until now. Well, the main reason is because of this exponential world that we live in, which is often referred to VUCA. Has anyone come across that term before, VUCA? Okay, so the world we live in today is being referred to as VUCA because this is what it stands for. So V stands for volatile because it's frequent and rapid change. You know, I think we can just look around us and see that unfolding literally every day. U stands for uncertain because outcomes are predictable in the world that we're in at the moment. And C definitely for complex because everything's interconnected, and so you change something over here and it can have all sorts of unexpected, unforeseen consequences over there. And finally, A stands for ambiguous. There's often a lack of clarity. But what's happened, I think, is that we've gone from being a VUCA world, and it's a term that's been around for a while, to being literally a super VUCA world. You know, when we look at the proliferation of change in so many different incarnations, you know, ChatGPT has been a game changer. We've had that kind of AI just for a year, and it's already transformed our world and the way we work. And this rate of technological advancement means that by the end of this century, we won't have gone through just 100 years of technological development. At this exponential rate of change, it will be the equivalent of something like about 20,000 years of technological development that we're going to see in this century. Now, 20,000 years ago, Cro-Magnon man was hunting wildebeest with spears during the last ice age. And that's how far our children and grandchildren, and Charlie, great-grandchildren, will be removed from us. So they will be in 2099 looking back at us in 2023, and we're going to be looking like the equivalent of cave dwellers. You know, when and our latest technology, so our iPhones and, you know, whatever super duper tech we've got, it's going to look like the equivalent of spears. So it's mind-blowing. So we think, well, how do we change the way we do work? How do we run our organizations? How do we do leadership? You know, all of these concepts are going through a really fundamental redesign and a re-engineering. And organizations are recognizing that in order to stay relevant in such an exponential world, they've got to better utilize their most precious resource, and that is the entrepreneurial talent of their workforce. And organizations that do that will be more robust and future ready and more resilient in a world that's changing so fast. So it's literally a case of life or death at the moment for companies, because the mortality rate of organizations is steadily growing. In other words, organizations are having a shorter and shorter lifespan. And if I can just share these statistics with you. For example, the average corporate life expectancy in Japan and Europe is only 12 and a half years. The average life expectancy of a Fortune 500 multinational company is only between 40 and 50 years, down from about 75 years in the mid-20th century. And interestingly enough, and hopefully, Anne, this might be of interest to you, that in the USA, public bankruptcies rose by almost 25%, a quarter of which were large corporations with assets in excess of $1 billion. So these statistics are from a book called Corporate Entrepreneurship and Innovation by Burns that came out in 2020. But these stats show how important it is for organizations to nurture this kind of agile leadership and to tap into their entrepreneurs to help drive innovation. The interesting thing is that this journey hasn't just come out of the blue. Okay, we've been getting told by lots of very reputable sources that this has been the path for quite a while. For example, article in Forbes says, if you want your company to be on the cutting edge, you need entrepreneurs. An article from Deloitte back in, it was about 2018, said entrepreneurship pays off many times over in terms of company growth and culture and talent. Ericsson, more recently in 2021, they released a white paper that said businesses that can identify the entrepreneurial spirits in their ranks today and provide them with the support that they need to pursue their ideas will be one step ahead. And the International Entrepreneurship and Management Journal had an article in about 2017 that said the entrepreneurial behavior of employees has become of strategic importance for the performance of organizations. If you want the source material of any of this, just email me and I'll send you all the references, etc. So the point being here is that entrepreneurs are literally the lifeblood of a business. And I mean that as literally as that. They can be the lifeblood of a business, as illustrated by this little case study that I'd like to share with you about Cherry. Now, Cherry did one of my innovation programs quite some time ago. This would be a few years ago. So this is a first-hand account of what happened. So she came along to my innovation program because she and her husband Jim had founded a small manufacturing business that was doing really, really well, and it had grown to about 60 people. They were just on the north side of Brisbane here. She was the general manager, he was the CEO. And in that role, he was really driving innovation. You know, he was taking on the responsibility for always finding the new ways to serve their customers, and just generally taking that role of keeping the business vibrant and profitable. There was just one big problem. I was going to say little problem, but it's a big problem. Cherry was really worried because he was working so hard and such long hours that his health had started to decline. And she was actually afraid that he was going to kill himself with hard work. In a funny sort of a way, they were victims of their own success. And this is a very common situation with business owners. Anyone know what I'm talking about here? Anyone relate to that? I'll send you, Anne, I'll send you that statistic about the mortality rates of organizations. So just getting back to Cherry, because she was so worried about her husband, she really thought he was going to come to work one day and then just drop dead with a heart attack because he was working so hard. So she came along to my program and said, look, I'm specifically here to find a way to take the load off Jim. And the solution was actually very simple, although not easy. And that was to turn the employees of the business into intrapreneurs. In other words, to spread the responsibility for innovation and automation. They were going digitizing their business at the time, and to spread that responsibility for creative problem solving across the workforce. And that is exactly what they did. So they began to encourage and empower people to offer new ideas, gave them more autonomy, asked them to think like the business owner and use their initiative to look out for new innovation opportunities proactively, to report back on what customers wanted, to make improvements within their business systems. So they actually were asking their employees to think like the business owner. So they were starting to unleash the entrepreneurial talent of their workforce. And it worked. They implemented a number of changes in the business over a number of months. And this is a quote from her directly. So Cherry said that the most important step was to make innovation the responsibility of everyone, not just the CEO. And they ended up with intrapreneurs and not employees. Now, I have summarized months of hard work into about, a minute as I tell this story, but it absolutely didn't happen overnight. I remember in one of the workshops that we were doing, Sherry saying to me, the first time she had a staff meeting and asked them all to offer their ideas, and her exact words to me were, they looked at me as if I was from Mars. She said, because it wasn't part of their culture. They weren't used to being asked to offer their ideas and solve problems. So she just simply set about changing the culture. So she started approaching people one-on-one instead of in a full staff meeting. She got the key influencers in the business on side, those people who others look up to and who, people will look to them first to see whether they accept an idea or not. All workplaces have those. And over time, these were some of the things that she did. She rewarded entrepreneurial behavior. So if people implemented a new idea, they got things like a movie ticket or gift vouchers, nothing overly extravagant. The next step on from that was to involve the staff themselves in the reward design, to ask them, what would you like? Rather than here's a movie ticket. She also recognized and celebrated people's achievements and contributions. They started a company newsletter and celebrated people who did wonderful things and offered new ideas that were successful for the business. They also promoted collaboration. They implemented a roster for people to have one-on-one coffee conversations twice a week with a different person in the organization, so that they could talk about work challenges, but also how they could help each other. And it encouraged collaboration right across the business and was a great source of innovation. And everyone was encouraged to think like the business owner and to actively look out for anything that wasn't working well, whether that was, an internal process or ways of reducing waste or identifying underutilized resources in the organization. It could be anything that would benefit the business. And they also recruited for intrapreneurs. So they started inviting people who were already of that mindset to come on board with them when they had a new position available. And the result was that they ended up with a business that went from one person, Jim, having all the responsibility for driving the growth and innovation in the business, and I might add, being literally crushed by the weight of it, to a business where everyone contributed. So Jim wasn't killing himself. His staff became entrepreneurs. They were so much happier. And just a final note about this is that businesses that have an entrepreneurial culture can sometimes, if anyone's looking to sell a business, can actually have a higher value because it's an intangible asset. But if the people in the organization are happy and they're contributing, it actually means that the business is more viable on a longer term basis. And then just finally, I want to share this in this section, this quote from a wonderful book by business guru Gary Hamel, and his book's called Humanocracy, Creating Organizations as Amazing as the People in Them, which I think is probably the best subtitle ever of a book. And he says that an organization or a business, doesn't matter how large or small it is, it has little to fear from the future or its competitors when it's brimming with self-managing micropreneurs. And micropreneurs are individual intrapreneurs. So the best way of achieving a great business is to have that critical mass of intrapreneurs. So that's sort of the first section. And before I move into talking about how entrepreneurs can identify opportunities, I thought I would just pause for a sec and open it up to the group just for a moment to have a bit of a conversation about what I've just shared with you. And then we'll go on to looking at some more specific ways that entrepreneurs contribute. Now, Anne has asked if I could please show that slide with the statistics about the length of business life and bankruptcies. How about I do that at the end, Anne, and then you can take a screenshot. And then Rhonda said that people love recognition for their efforts. Absolutely, absolutely. And it's a very powerful motivator. And if we're wanting people to make contributions and bring forth their good ideas, we do need to recognize those in some way. So just opening it up to everyone, if anyone wants to jump in and make a comment or an observation or ask a question or share an insight with their colleagues. Jeremy, you've asked about how many hours he was working before and after. I don't have the specifics on it, but I think he was working like 20 hours a day for a while there. But I don't know what it was after. I think it was probably still relatively long hours, but probably 10 hours a day instead of 20.
Can I just make
Irena, it really
sorry.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
It really makes sense even for those of us who don't have large organizations. If we can kind of create that spirit with anybody that we might hire, would be good. It's interesting to think of how companies reward those. I had quite a stint at IBM, and they did have, this was in the 80s, and they did have a program where if your idea saved money, then you were rewarded as well. But it was sometimes hard to get ideas into through the management levels. It was kind of like if your manager was not open to seeing, even if you were a manager, the one ahead of you or something was, could be a block.
Oh my goodness, Anne, you have literally just put your finger on the main blockage to intrapreneurialism within organizations. And it's hierarchy, and it's one of the things that when you're working in a large organization, it's different in an SME, but large organizations that have lots of layers, very difficult to get intrapreneurialism embedded across the organization. But it's not impossible. It can be done. But that whole, somewhere along the line, you're going to come up against someone who doesn't like the idea, or who's threatened by it, or whose ego doesn't want to respect it. So many blockages. So it's actually a very insightful comment there, Anne. Thank you. Someone else was starting to say something.
Myself. Yeah. I remember perhaps 10 years ago, I had been saying for a number of years when I gave a keynote, I've yet to meet a business who has a practice of catching people doing something right. And the New Zealand Ambulance Service, when I said that in a program with them, said, well, today's the day, Pat. And they went on to explain how they had manifested that and rolled it out. And it was a great joy to see how they had created this platform of self-empowerment and given permission or paved the way for people to be acknowledging each other.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. So where was this, Pat? Did you say in New Zealand?
New Zealand Ambulance Service.
Wonderful. That's brilliant. I actually once spoke to someone who was a farmer. Her father owned the farm and she was working on the farm, and they were trying to bring this idea of rewarding great ideas into the business. And she was telling me about how one day one of the farm hands had this brilliant idea, and her father literally just reached into his pocket and took out his wallet and gave the man $50 on the spot because he saw what a brilliant idea it was. That I've never heard of that happening since then, but it was his farm, so he could do what he liked. But I love that. I love that idea that St. John's had implemented, that catching people doing the right thing and contributing. Okay, are we ready to push on, or would you like to say anything else? Okay, so we will keep going. So entrepreneurs have many, many skills, but let's look at one particular skill that they have which makes them so valuable to a business, and that is their ability to spot opportunities. So spotting opportunities is about, it can take lots of forms. It can be discovering about how to change something for the better, or simply doing something different that captures market attention or need, or creating something new that adds value to people's lives in some way. And I'll give you a few really well-known examples of this in a moment. So at its core, it's about having an attentiveness to the environment. And I'm going to give you 3 ways with case study examples of how entrepreneurs do that. So first of all, it's about noticing things that aren't working well. And once again, these principles are just as relevant for huge multinational corporations as it is for small and micro businesses as well. So is there anything that is taking too much time or resources? Is there something within the business that's just become difficult or awkward, or that creates an unpleasant experience for customers? This one aspect of noticing something that isn't working well, in fact, turned a small little rural business into a global brand. And let me just see if you can guess which brand that is. You'll know it for sure. So guess the company. Number 1, it started in the 1950s. It was a small business operating in rural Sweden, and it delivered mail order furniture to struggling Swedish farmers. And it is who? Where's my chat box?
IKEA.
It sure is. It's IKEA. Yes, I just closed my chat box for a moment. Yeah, absolutely. Got it in one. IKEA, that's how it became a global brand, thanks to one intrapreneur. And the story goes like this, that one day in 1956, the newest employee, who was employee number 4, He came on board as draftsman and delivery guy, you know, sort of cheap bottle washer and everything. You know, when you're a small business, you do it all. But his name was Gillis Lundgren, and he was delivering a table that wouldn't fit into his delivery vehicle. So he took the legs off it, and suddenly the task became easy. So he took this idea of flattening the furniture to the business owner, who was Ingvar Kamprad, who saw the potential of the idea, and it soon became central to how they ran their business. That one idea transformed their business model, and the rest, as they say, is history. So Gillis Lundgren was an entrepreneur, and he was fortunate enough to work in a business and for a business owner who was open to new ideas, who listened to him. Otherwise, the world never would have had IKEA. Just a fun fact, as an aside, apparently 1 in 10 Europeans are reportedly conceived in an IKEA bed, according to the New York Times. So I just thought I'd throw that one in for a good measure. So the second aspect of having an attentiveness to the environment is observing or identifying gaps in a process or a product, you know, asking yourself, what's missing? What could be enhanced? How could something be adapted? And another famous example that would probably have more relevance for our American audience is Cheetos. Are you familiar with Cheetos, Anne? Do you have?
Yeah, Cheetos. Yes,
absolutely. Cheetos. We have them in Australia too, but I think they're much bigger in America. So there's a famous story about how this well-known product called Flamin' Hot Cheetos came into existence. So, and it goes like this. Richard Montanez, who's in the picture there, was an American Mexican working as a janitor at the Frito-Lay factory in California when a broken machine spilled out a whole batch of plain Cheetos that hadn't been dusted yet. So they hadn't had the flavoring put on them. So Montanez took them home, dusted them with chili powder, and tested them on his family, and they absolutely loved it. Now, at the time, the Frito-Lay company had a wide range of snacks, but none that catered for the spicier tastes of the Latino Americans. So Montanez saw a gap in the market. It also just happened to coincide at the time that the CEO was encouraging employees throughout the organization to that whole thing again of think like the business owner and offer any ideas for new product lines. So Montanez took up the challenge. He pitched his idea to the CEO, and then he was asked to give a presentation to the executive leadership team. And he was so well prepared. He literally came with bespoke packaging, with samples, and won them over. And the product has gone on to become one of the company's most profitable product lines. And here's the really interesting thing. Montanez, the janitor, is now the vice president for multicultural sales, all because he identified a gap in the product market and filled it. So this is called adjacent innovation, or what's sometimes referred to as Horizon 2 innovation, because it's a variation on an existing product. But huge success story there. And then the final way, the third way of paying attention, is to observe the market and what people need. So in a world that's changing so fast, people's needs are constantly evolving. And during the COVID pandemic, it was really interesting to see how some businesses found amazing opportunities in all of that chaos and the lockdowns, etc. And they just read the market and adapted really quickly. And here are a few examples of them. So there was a company called Clark Murphy Printing. So it's a printing company that pivoted to start making heavy-duty cardboard desks. And the reason for that was that they noticed that when children had to be homeschooled, and everyone was home, you know, working from home as well, there were just no desks to be had anywhere because the demand just skyrocketed. So they actually just started producing heavy duty cardboard slot together student desks as flat pack products, and they could deliver them worldwide. So after the pandemic, they then started extending their offerings to cubby houses and castles. And so they've now got an additional revenue stream for their business. So that's a great example of just paying attention and pivoting. Another company here in Australia called Stage Kings had a business building huge stages for large events. Of course, large events industry collapsed and they switched to building standing desks to support working from home. Beautifully designed, easy to construct, sold thousands within literally their first month. What I find interesting about the first two, I've accidentally put the third one up there already, but what I found interesting about the first two is that they're actually completely different kinds of businesses, and yet they were able to quickly adapt their business models to meet the market demand for similar products in very different ways. Similarly, another company called PharmaVet produced veterinary medical supplies. They diversified into producing high-quality hospital-grade hand sanitizer called Supersan. And post-COVID, they have now continued that product. So they've got an additional revenue stream as well. And another example is the Cape Byron distillery down in Byron Bay, with many other distilleries in Australia, including Bundaberg Rum, I believe, repurposed their equipment, their distillery equipment, to produce hand sanitizer, which was an essential product during COVID. You know, all of these examples show us that people who are astute are looking and scanning the environment and seeing how can we innovate, how can we adapt, how can we pivot, and it's the intrapreneurs within these organizations that help companies to survive in difficult times and help them to be stronger in less difficult times. Actually, I might just pause for a moment before I just share some resources and just see if you've got anything that you'd like to contribute, because this is, you know, we're all in business in some way or another. We might work in our own business, we might be in someone else's business or in a large organization, could be government, because these principles really apply right across the board. They're not just for SMEs or for corporates. They work in not-for-profits, in education, in the government sector, in any sector at all. So just curious to know if you've seen some entrepreneurial examples from your workplace, or if you've got anything that you'd like to share about what we talked about in that segment.
The software company that I'm an agent for actively requests from their clients what sort of things they want to see in their software, and they're very proactive in introducing those things to the line. Can I share another story from some time ago? I remember reading about a warehousing company that had totally robotic fill mechanism, so people weren't actually working in that area. And one of the employees suggested, why do we bother having the lights on? And they saved the company oodles of dollars just by turning off the lights in this massive warehouse complex.
Yep, because robots don't need light.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yep. And once again, I think that suggestion came from like the cleaner.
Something like that, yes.
Yeah, I know the story that you're talking about. So great ideas can come from any part of the organization. Yeah, that's a great story. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else?
Many years ago, I'm saying many years, a good 20, 25 years ago, I heard a story that when lifts were first introduced and people would get in a lift, after a while they started complaining because the lifts took too long to get to where they wanted to go, the first, second, third or fourth floor. And this particular lift company put out a challenge and said, if somebody can work out a way that we can stop all these complaints from coming in, they can get $10,000. And they got one suggestion and it worked. They put mirrors in the lifts so that people stood there and looked at themselves and didn't worry about the time it took to get from the first floor to the fourth floor.
I haven't heard that story. That's so classic. That's brilliant. It's a really counterintuitive kind of solution, isn't it? You know, so it's not about making the lift go faster, you know, which is probably what conventional wisdom would have said. Oh, we want to get there faster, stop the complaints. But it was that's brilliant. Sorry, was that Charlie who I didn't see who shared
Yes,
that?
it was Charlie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Charlie, do you have the source of that story?
No, I can't remember. It's too long ago.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure if you use Bing will tell you.
Yeah, I'm sure Google will know that because I've heard the story as well.
Okay, I love it. That's fantastic.
Distraction, the art of distraction.
It's brilliant. So V, you've said that your sister's been teaching history for years and now she's creating a whole new curriculum. Yep. Lots of entrepreneurs in education. Wonderful. All right. Are you happy to keep going? Any other stories to share?
I was hoping to, I don't know. Can I talk?
Yeah, go on.
I don't know how to turn on my mic.
We can
It's
hear
on.
you.
Oh, okay. It says it's off. Sorry. I just want to say how wonderful it would be to have the students share what's not working for them. So the bored children can now create the program to be more stimulating, and this is an exciting, like, for me, it's unlimited amount of possibilities. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Sorry, we've got about 3 minutes to go.
Oh, okay. Didn't realise that. Sorry, let's keep going. So just to wrap up, and we don't need to do the discussion at the end because we've been doing it all together as we go through. Just want to let you know what's on offer. So I founded the Global Intrapreneurs Institute specifically a few years ago to begin to address the skills gap within organisations. So if you want to know more, there's lots of resources on the website, which is gii.institute. You could watch the annual Global Entrepreneurs Summit and award ceremony. That's on the website there as well, that you can see if you just Google Global Entrepreneurs Summit and awards. And there's lots of people who are talking about the work that they are doing internally, including students. There's a course that I've created called the Professional Certificate of Intrapreneurialism that is being picked up around the world. And if you know of people who are really gung-ho about this, I even have a process for accrediting organizations to become intrapreneurial organizations. Now, if you're really interested in this topic, a couple of things you can do. Number one, just email me at my actual direct email, which is irena@gii.institute, and I'll send you happily a soft copy of my book. If you want to take a deeper dive, please connect with me on LinkedIn if we're not already connected, or you can also join, not all, but you can also join the GII mailing list, because I often write about this topic as an education piece. So you can use your code reader to take you straight to the registration page for that. Okay, so that's us. That's the process we've gone through, and we've actually been having Q&A as we go all the way through. So we can do a couple more minutes now if you want to. We are in your hands, Charlie, and I'm happy to continue the conversation with anyone who would like to do so at any stage. Okay.
Thank you for that. That was very, very interesting. I've not heard of that before, but it certainly all makes a lot of sense to me. And I think I've worked out that I was one of those when I was working for companies. But anyway, there you go. But I'm upping my game to be an entrepreneur now. I'd like to call on Pat. Pat, would you like to thank our speaker?
I would love to. Thank you, Charlie. Some years ago, when we first met, I received a copy of your book, and what I'd like to share in offering my thanks is I really believe strategy alone is not going to get us through the coming years. creativity and innovation are going to be key. And, you know, I thank you for your work, because you've been a great lead-in to all of this to happen. For those of you who are considering the book, I highly recommend it. On page 25, Irena talks about leaders becoming talent curators instead of people managers. On page 29, she talks about us approaching, or actually being in, a perfect storm now. We're on the cusp of a new world of work, and we're it. On page 199, she talks about the nexus between creative energy and self-leadership. Some time ago, I met a man by the name of David Martin, and he said, "Oh, joyologist, that's amazing." He said, "Do you know, Pat," he said, "in the not too distant future, we won't have names like Pat Armistead or David Martin. Rather, we will be called by that which we represent." So thank you for showing us a very unique way of representing ourselves.
Pat, like in almost bringing the tears to my eyes, just quoting from the book, and I'm just so grateful to you for sharing with everyone, you know, those snippets from the book. You know, you are the embodiment of the message that you bring to the world. So it's been wonderful to be here with all of you, and I thank you so much for that wrap up as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well,
it was a very improvised moment. I didn't know about it until we came into the meeting. So it's lovely that we can have bookshelves.
Well, and you've got all your post-it notes on the different pages. I love that. I love that. Thank you so much. Was it Anne who wanted those references? And was it Anne, I think?
Yes.
Are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, because if you like, I can just share the screen for that brief moment if you wanted to take a picture or a screenshot. Oh, sorry, wrong screen.
Those were amazing statistics.
Okay, there you go. Apologies. Yep.
There you go.
There you go. Take your screenshot and
thank you.
And then we'll keep going.
Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that brings us to the end of the meeting. It's the end of our last meeting for this year. Our next meeting will be in February, nothing in January, first Tuesday in February. Jeremy, have we got a speaker lined up for that as yet?
I think we just organised V to be our 5-minute speaker.
I love this on the fly.
Stephen Coate is our 30-minute speaker.
Excellent, thank you. So to wrap us up, we're going to do our affirmation. I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel great. And I think I just might get Harry to lead that one today. Come on, Harry.
Unmute, Harry.
Okay. All right. Ranging glasses. Ready? We're going to do I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel great. We're going to do it 20 million times. Just so. Ready, set, let's go. I'm alive.
I'm well. I feel great. I'm alive. Well. I feel great. I'm alive. I'm well. I feel great.
We love Charlie.
Yes. I'm special. There we go.
As dorky as it is, we're alive and we're breathing.
Yes, excellent. I don't know if you'd like to stay online to see if anybody's got anything they want to talk to you about, Irena.
Yeah, happy to. Yep.
But I have